All right, hey, how's it going, everyone? So this is election coverage, 2018, and the only thing I care about is on essentially on the San Diego election here is Soccer City versus SDSU West because it is the main ballot initiative for figuring out what the heck is going on at the Mission Valley site. I'm going to pull up Google Earth and show you guys the area. I mean, you've already seen it numerous times online and, wherever the ads that are playing locally here. And pretty much, this whole thing just is a nightmare. You know what I mean? It's become a problem, this whole debate. And it's really annoying because you have people like that are on the SDSU West side that are just making it a problem for everyone. They're not being truthful. It's going to take years, and I'm talking years, to get through all the litigation on SDSU West. I mean, if we look at the Adobe Falls property, which is right here, so they've already approved the upper development, which is this parcel right here. But, of course, they haven't gone through with it. And I asked the CSU person, so that would be Tony. She's the CSU director there, and let me pull up her last name. Tony Molle. That's Molle, right? And I had asked her about this. I had followed up pretty much saying, and I have the email right here, so I will show that. I'll pull it up on my webmail here in just a moment. But to summarize the statement, or to summarize the email here, to clarify, Jack McCreary's recusal, and we're talking about the vote whether or not to support SDSU West or Soccer City. Jack McCreary's recusal was not due to his role as a developer, but because he's the principal in the organization that is promoting the ballot initiative. And while there is not likely a conflict of interest, and you guys can see this on Twitter, I've posted this, because he is not receiving financial compensation or gain, he recused himself out of abundance or caution. Well, he has a lot to gain. Well, at least his friends do, in public land, public vote. And if we all remember, these same developers were the ones behind Enron of the West. You know what I mean? So, including Jack himself. You had the Chargers ticket guarantee and the pension crisis. And he was on Scott and BR today about this, and again, it was just ridiculous. Lying to Scott there. I'm just surprised Scott didn't ask him about Adobe Falls, because so the upper development is approved, and I'm looking at this email here, and I can post it, or just look at my Twitter. It's on my Twitter page. I've posted it numerous times as evidence. Blah blah blah. Basically, he cannot submit a bid. McGurry can't, but there's nothing preventing his buddies in public land, public vote from doing so. And on top of that, if they do make a bid, they're likely to get it because, oh look, you scratch our back. Well, it's that whole deal. If you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back type of deal. And again, if we look at other instances like the high-speed rail project, I mean, that's some major corruption there. Dianne Feinstein's husband got the bid for that, so he's developing the high-speed rail project, and that's exactly what's going to happen here with SDSU West if they win. In regards to Adobe Falls again, and this is the email, and I quote, SDSU has not yet secured project approval from the Board of Trustees to proceed with the Upper Village Phase 1. However, the board did approve the project site in the master plan. Further, CEQA review must be conducted before development can proceed on the lower village component. So they have the money to build this upper area of Adobe Falls here, and that's why the road is like this, because what they are planning on doing is grading out all this land up and near the top, and they're going to have some I believe it was faculty housing. And the lower side here, where the roundabout is, or not the roundabout, the cul-de-sac, my mistake on wording there. That's where they had planned the lower development, and then the rest was slated to be like park or other stuff in between, but they haven't developed it. Why? And they're not putting any more money towards it. Why? You can ask that question. I've asked that question, and I've been put on low priority by the CSU on terms of my public records request. So they're in violation of the Public Records Act. So way to go on that. And they purposely said, okay, I'm low priority. Well, okay, by telling me that, well, technically breaking the law there, but what can you do? They believe they're above the law. I mean, all these developers do over on the public land, public vote side, because what's going to happen if they were to get the Qualcomm Stadium site? They're going to build it. They're not going to do any mitigation on it because the CSU system doesn't have to. That was proven by Adobe Falls, where that ended up in years of litigation because they didn't do any mitigation. And now they, as I said in the email, which I got back from them, now they have to redo all their SQL stuff. So it's pretty ridiculous. This is why I like Soccer City, because you have a group of developers being FSI, or a singular developer, FSI, come in and say, we want to build something great for San Diego. Oh, and by the way, SDSU, you can get into campus. You can get all this other stuff, right? We're going to have a river park, which we are going to pay for. And all this at no cost to the taxpayers. Oh, and we're going to bring an MLS team. But what have San Diego voters said so far on this? Let's check it out. So let's refresh here. Measure E, 72%. 100,000 people have said no. And 100,000 people have said yes to Measure G. Only 40,000 have said yes to Measure E. So it's still early on in the polls here. But the reason why the developers behind SDSU West are winning, in my theory, is because they use the SDSU West title. And the voters see SDSU plastered over it and think, oh wow, if SDSU is doing something, it must be great for everyone because they're a university and they're smart. Well, people, you are getting played, because I assure you right now, I will bet $100 on this. Bet $100 that this land will not be developed for years. It's going to get stuck in litigation like it did with Adobe Falls, and it's just going to remain stagnant. So here's what I want to see happen. Now, I do have the hope that SDSU West loses and Soccer City wins, but it boils down to who has more yes votes in their favor. And right now, as I said, only 19% of the precincts are in right now, but it's not, I don't know, out of the gate, it's not looking good. What I believe the mayor should do, and what he should have done in the first place, because I mean, you pretty much just have all these developers which are not helping at all. That would be Fenton, Sudbury, you name it. All the groups. Oh, hey, Pierce Education Properties. Don't forget him, because he is one of the spokespeople. I would include Jack McGurry, but technically per law he can't make a bid, although he has a lot to gain, or his friends do, off this proposal. Let's look at Savita right here. Right? Let's look at this proposal. That went through years of litigation. And Southwest Strategies, who was the PR firm hired by, I forget which developer it was, basically blocked this project. They are now being used, or they were being used, I should say still are being used because it's not over yet, in the fight against Soccer City. Why is that? Any logical person, you should be able to think and answer that. The reason they're using them is because you have all these developers that see, oh wow, another developer comes in, they have a great plan, but we want a piece of the pie. So we're going to make it impossible, or almost impossible, for them to build. This is what's happened. Now, as I said, what the mayor should have done when this whole, I would use another word, and I'm going to because I'm live streaming, and I can't bleep it, but all this shenanigans started because of greed from the camp in Public Land, Public Vote. They are not looking out for the community's well-being in this. If they did, this would be a whole lot different. But they're not. They want a piece of the pie. And let's face it, they've had years to come up with a plan. Hell, I came up with a plan in 2012. So let's scroll to downtown here. I had the Phase 3 waterfront conveyance proposal. Or the Phase 4 technically. But the point of this being, it would have provided funding for the Phase 3 expansion of the convention center, and it would have built a waterfront conveyance. Where did that go? And that roadblocks with Fabiani, giving me the runaround saying, oh yeah, you can meet with our architects. Oh, their architects are in Kansas City. Can't meet right now. We'll keep you in mind the next time we're here. To nothing getting done in this town. That is my single most just annoyance with San Diego. Nothing gets done, or it takes years to get done. Let's look at the I-5 project. I mean, this is a California problem in general. NIMBYism. Really. Look at how long it's taken the I-5 to get built. And, I mean, they're just starting the segment up here in Encinitas all the way up to Carlsbad. That was supposed to be built when I was in high school. For the record, I graduated in 2009. So, it's just purely ridiculous. Just the absolute crap that's going on in the city right now. And at the state level. Just too much regulation and nothing gets done. Use another example, the airport. And I've had previous videos on this. Originally, this is, if we look at Miramar here, that was the old Top Gun, base. This is where they filmed Top Gun. Very famous movie with Tom Cruise, as many of you know. The city lacked the foresight to say, when the Navy was getting rid of it, before it shifted to the Marine Corps, that might be a good idea to take Lindbergh Field, which, by the way, this whole area getting on and off the freeway into the airport, that's a whole nother problem. Covered in previous videos, it's a mess. No one wants to do anything about it, really. Or no one's actually had anything a viable solution, because it just meets roadblocks constantly anytime you want to do something in the city. But in any case, that would have meant they could have kept El Toro up here. But the reason I'm giving you guys the backstory to this is just the fact that nothing gets done in California in general land use. It just takes forever. So that's when I saw you had FS come in and say, let's build something for the city. I was on board with that. And at no cost to taxpayers, expands the university, all this other fun stuff. I keep going on a tangent, but getting to my point. The mayor should have at least pulled everyone aside in the begin with and said, we're going to pull you into a room, and you're going to figure this out, and then you're going to take a measure to city council and submit it. No more developer infighting. And actually what should happen if both measures fail, even if Measure G runs, I think it should be sued. What needs to happen is the mayor pulls both sides in, FS and the developers behind Public Land, Public Vote. And he tells them, you either come up with a plan to submit to city council and work on something together. And this would be more towards the Public Land, Public Vote people who have been just obtuse in this whole thing. Either work together, or you're never getting a permit again in the city of San Diego. We'll deny all future permits. I'm not sure if that's legal or not, but I mean, hell, the mayor needs to take a stance. And he should have taken a stance on this a while ago. I mean, he did take a stance in support of Soccer City. But, again, I think in hindsight, they should have just pulled everyone in the room and said, come up with the best proposal. Here's what we want to do. And if anything future happens with this, they use Measure E as the example, because all the environmental stuff, all the mitigation's in there. So, we'll see what happens. But, as I said, it's only 19% of all precincts in right now. I still have hope that Measure E wins. But, I mean, here we go. It just upgraded again. That's interesting. Thought that was a little bit higher. In any case, we're not getting the accurate numbers right now. But I do hope that Measure G loses and Measure E wins, just purely on the benefit of the taxpayer. And I mean, what's going to happen when the SDSU West project goes over budget? They're going to tax the students, and it's going to go to the taxpayers. So more student fees and more taxpayer money. And if we look at the high-speed rail project again, that's billions of dollars over budget because Feinstein's husband got the bid and it's a cash cow to them. Oh, we need more money to build this. Oh, we need more money. And they're making profit off of your taxpayers' money, and that's not right. That's one reason why I don't like this state is all this stuff that's allowed to happen over the years because it's just gotten so corrupt and no one wants to do anything about it. Again, that's why one of the main reasons I support FS, because they're actually a good group of developers who want to do something great for the city. But again, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna shut off the live stream. It's getting late. I'll post a video in the morning on the aftermath of this, and hopefully sanity will prevail, people. Hopefully sanity will prevail. If it doesn't, I am quite concerned about our voter base. And nope, this is a very opinionated piece. I understand that, but honestly, I think we should all be tired of the typical status quo politics on land use and other things that have gotten us into this mess in the first place. And really consider who you're voting for, because this is, I mean, it's too late now. Everyone's already voted, but for next time around, really consider the costs associated with all this, because it might open your eyes. Anyways, this is Spencer with CFSM Media giving you a live stream because, well, I'm honestly too lazy to edit this in Premiere right now. Plus, I gotta be up early for work, so there's that too. Anyways, guys, stay classy. Thanks for watching, and subscribe. I'll be doing some more videos on the aftermath, and as I said, hopefully the mayor just vetoes anything that passes, assuming Mr. G passes. He vetoes it, and then it gets stalled, and again, he pulls on both hands to figure this out. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, stay classy, San Diego, and signing off.